All I can think about now when I stand in front of a camera to film a video is how badly I am in need of a haircut. I hate this length so much. But a haircut is coming in the new year for sure. But we're not here for that today. We are here to talk about my last wrap up from 2017. Everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I am wrapping up the books that I read in November and December, because November I did not have time to do a wrap up and I only read 3 books, so I thought I would just throw them in at the end of the year with my December wrap up. I've already posted a video of all the books I read this year with their star ratings. I really enjoy making that video every year, so you guys can check that out. I'll leave it linked down below and up above because I keep pointing up there, so you guys can check that out and see all the books I read in the entire year. But I still wanted to wrap up and talk about the books I read in November and December. So the first book I listened to on audiobook in November, and that was Wildwood Dancing by Juliette Marillier. I talked about the audiobook a bit, how I really enjoyed the narrator and the storyline, and how the narrator and how the production of that audiobook really kept my interest. I only gave Wildwood Dancing a 3-star rating because of a few things. First of all, the magic system reminds me of very old pagan rituals and superstitions, so I was a little weary about some of the magic rituals and ideas from this fae world. There was the night people who were kind of painted towards vampires, so there's a lot of superstitions that went with that. So the magic and the superstitions and stuff was very like old pagan rituals or just very earthy and stuff. It didn't go into too much depth or too much darkness of that, but it was still very close to that border that I didn't feel too comfortable with it, even though I did enjoy the story and how a lot of the fairy tale elements played out. The characters I really enjoyed, the world building I did really enjoy, and the writing is incredible and beautiful and lyrical, and just something I really enjoyed about her writing. I was highly recommended this by my friend Sam at Sam's Nonsense, and she's not wrong about Juliette Marillier's writing. It is incredible. It's just the magic and the elements of the fae world that got me a little uneasy with some of the superstitions and kind of pagan magic is as close as I can get to describing that. So if you're a little weary about some of that stuff, I would caution you against that. But if you like really beautiful fae and fairy tale stories with a more earthy, realistic twist to them, I would recommend this one. I'm not actually going to read the companion novel Sibyl's Secret because it talks about a pagan cult, and so I decided to avoid that one completely, but I really am glad that I read Wildwood Dancing. The next book I picked up, I started a little early on our Haim read-along. So our Coffee Chapters and Christian YA Book Club is doing a Haim read-along. We decided to fill in any gap months that we had with no book or lack of books with a Haim book. So every month we are reading one book of the Haim fairy tale retellings by Melanie Dickerson up until the release of The Orphan's Wish, which is coming out June 26th, and it is going to be our July book. So we're going to build up and kind of refresh as we get down, because there's 7 books in between, and it's nice to connect all the family and everybody together. So I really enjoyed, again, listening to Healer's Apprentice. I listened to it on audiobook and really enjoyed the audiobook as well, and I'm going to be starting The Merchant's Daughter soon. Toward the end of the year, it turned into the reread season. So the next book I started rereading was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I finally finished Harry Potter series for the first time ever in 2017 and instantly wanted to reread the book series. So for some reason, Christmas and the holiday season for me feels like a really good time to start rereading the Harry Potter series. So I picked up Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's the only one I own right now, but the rest are coming, so I'm going to start my own reread of my first ever personal editions of the Harry Potter books. Of course, with this and The Healer's Apprentice, I left them at their original star ratings of 5 stars. I usually leave rereads at their original star ratings unless something has very much changed in my opinion of them, or I'm not as excited the second time I read them, but usually they stay at their original star ratings. The next book in December I picked up was a brand new book and an audiobook as well, and that was Aragorn by Christopher Paolini. I don't know. So that is book 1 in the Inheritance Cycle. This was my sister's favorite book, so I decided to give that a go. I enjoyed the world, but it really felt like a Lord of the Rings ripoff for me, and there's so much of it that was very similar to the Lord of the Rings, or felt like it was actually taken or ripped off from Lord of the Rings, that I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But I can see that he grew up as a fantasy lover and loving Lord of the Rings, and I can see a lot of those elements in there. I enjoyed the characters a little bit. I enjoyed the world building, but like I said, it was way too reminiscent of Lord of the Rings for me to enjoy a lot of the aspects. So I'm hoping the rest of the series kind of picks up and takes some of the original ideas he started in this one and kind of goes with that. They've also announced a book 5 being released of these, so I don't know when that's going to be, but there's now going to be 5 books. So I thought now's a good time to start reading them. I only gave it a 3-star rating because of all the similarities, and that it didn't just feel like similarities to me, it actually felt like taking something from Lord of the Rings or from other fantasy books. So because it felt like that, I only gave it a 3-star rating, but there's quite a bit of originality in here that I would like to see developed in the next couple books. Carrying on my audiobook and rereads was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I try to reread The Hunger Games every year. I didn't get to all 3 this year, but I really enjoyed listening to an audiobook, so doing them in different formats, again, is a good way to refresh or bring back old favorites. And I'm looking forward to, again, diving back into Catching Fire and Mockingjay, because there's always little things that I tend to pick up, especially in these books, as I read them through the next couple times. The last 2 books I'm going to talk about, so book 59 and 60 of my Goodreads reading goals, were Anomaly and Luminary by Krista McGee. These are part of our Coffee Chapters and Christian YA book club picks for December. We wanted to reread for Melanie and I, but we wanted to read the Anomaly trilogy by Krista McGee. Again, we are lacking in sometimes finding good YA Christian books to read with you guys, but it's nice to bring back old favorites of majority of people, or even some people were reading them for the first time. Again, I left both of these at 5-star ratings. It was nice to get back into these and to pick up some information again, or to remember some old stuff. I remember how much I really like Alex as a character, and I've started reading Revolutionary, which I will probably finish right away in January here, but I'm excited to get back into these, and it was just nice to finally get to rereading these. So those were all of the books I read in November and December, and those are the last couple books I read of 2017. I like to pull in a lot of my rereads, as you can see, toward the end of the year. It just makes it easier to go back into something comfortable when you're in a really busy season. So I feel like that's probably where all the rereads come from. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!